right, good morning, everyone. You should have your notebook out, and let's put today's date, which is 1/27/16. Okay, and yesterday you guys learned about the commutative property, and the commutative property says that you can change the order of the numbers and you still get the same answer. Okay, today I am going to teach you about the associative property. So let's write down our title, Associative Property. Okay, and just like yesterday, there's two types. There is associative property of addition and there's associative property of multiplication. So number one is associative property of addition. And number two is associative property of multiplication. And just like yesterday, there are no associative properties of subtraction or division. Okay, the definition of associative property, it says that you can change the groups, as in parentheses, and you get the same answer. Okay, you can change the groups, parentheses, but you can't change the order. Okay, so associative property allows you to change the groups, the parentheses, but it doesn't allow you to change the order. What property allows you to change the order? Commutative. So the difference between commutative and associative, this one allows you to change the groups, the parentheses, and commutative property allows you to change the order. Let's look at some examples now. Okay, so for example, if I have, let's say 13 plus parentheses, 17 plus 5. If we use PEMDAS, we have to do 17 plus 5 and then add 13. But if I use the associative property, I can say, hey, let's change the parentheses and let's put 13 and 17 together and then add the 5. So I can do 13 plus 17 and get 30 plus 5. Instead of getting 17 plus 5 and getting 22 plus 13. This one's a little bit harder. It's the same numbers, but the way it's presented here becomes a more difficult problem to do in your head than it is to do here. Now notice that the order did not change. It's still 13, 17, 5, 13, 17, 5. The only thing that changes is where the parentheses are. So for example, if I have parentheses, 5 plus 2a parentheses plus 3a, where would you move the parentheses to make this problem doable, basically? Hopefully you said, or you wrote down 5 plus parentheses 2a plus 3a. Let's put all the a's together. I'm changing the groups, changing the parentheses, but not changing the order. Cannot change the order. 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3. Okay, same thing with multiplication. So I can say 3 times 5 parentheses times 4. So this is 15 times 4. I think an easier problem would be 5 times 4, which is 20 times 3. This is 60. Some of us, sorry for all the movement, some of us might find this problem a lot easier. I can do 20 times 3. If I say, hey, what's 15 times 4? Some of you might hesitate. If I ask you, would you bet your lunch on this answer or this answer? Many of us would feel comfortable saying, I know the answer is 60. Would you bet 15 times 4? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. We'll talk about it tomorrow. All right, here's another multiplication example. So what if I have 8x times, not a great example, I'm sorry. 2 times 4. Wouldn't it be easier to do 8x times 2 times 4? Okay, this is an example of like, it really doesn't matter how you multiply it, but the whole point is if you're using associative property, you're just changing the groups. I apologize. This is just horrible. I'm just going to cross it out. And if I cross it out, guess what you're doing? Yep, you're crossing it out as well. Let's give you a better example. Let's say can't think of one. Oh, 8 times 5 times 7. And we'll put parentheses around the 5 and the 7. How would you rewrite that? Hopefully you wrote 8 times 5, which is 40, times 7. 5 times 7 is 35. 35 times 8. I don't know. I would have to write it down or take a couple seconds to figure it out. But here, if I do 8 times 5, I know that's 40. 40 times 7, well, I just take 4 and 7, get 28, add the 0. I know that this is equal to 280. A lot quicker. Okay?